Now I'm going to solve the first four open-ended questions, 31 to 34. In number 31, I see information that looks like a ratio, right? It's connecting for us two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. All right, so let's do that. 2 to 1, hydrogen to oxygen. Um, this is super helpful when it comes to information being given in a sentence. If you see two different units or two different quantities, we have to think as ratios, and we have to be comfortable thinking in terms of fractions as well. All right. And if it's not even part of the solve, sometimes the ratio is not going to be involving fractions. What we can do is basically we can just kind of like, still organize our thoughts a little bit better. All right. So in this case here, um, it's not necessarily a fraction question, but they're looking for how many atoms of hydrogen are there when there's 51 molecules in the water. So this is how we're going to adjust it slightly. We know that it's not going to be 2 and 1, but it's going to be a multiple of 2 and 1. So we can say it's 2x and 1x for hydrogen to oxygen, right? Could be 4 and 2. Obviously, it's not that. Could be 20 and 10, but it's got to be some multiple. So we can then take that information and build our equation. And of course, again, it's not a ratio, it's not a fraction question now, but it helped us organize our thoughts. This is going to be how we solve it. So 3x equals 51, x is equal 17. That means that the multiplier that we're looking for is 17. 2 times 17 is 34. 1 times 17 is, of course, 17. 34 plus 17 is 51. We know it's correct. They're looking for hydrogen, and hydrogen is the value on top. So our answer for number 31 is 34. Okay, so again, look for sentences that have, or phrases that are connecting two different quantities. If you want to organize it as a fraction, that's helpful. We have to, take 2 over 1 in this case here, or any ratio, as not literal. It's not guaranteeing us that those values are what H and O are, but we have to be comfortable with extending it into multiples. All right, so 2 and 1 becomes, in our case here, 34 and 17, and we solved it using a simple algebra equation. In number 32, yeah, so the first job that we're going to do is plug in a 1, right? X is equals to 1. So that means that we have this. Oops. Let me just erase that really quickly. All right, I don't use this tool as often, so I don't know. I don't memorize the buttons. But there we go. Erased it. There, that's the substitution that we have. And of course, this one hopefully isn't too bad, right? Just make sure that you don't make any silly mistakes, and we end up with an A value of positive 2. Oh, and I guess I didn't look at the, oh, okay, so it was requested. Okay, so we are multiplying by 2, by negative 2 on both sides, right, to cancel out the negative 1/2 there. So that's why A is equal to positive 2 in the end over here. All right, so substitute, solve it. Basically, that's the main idea. If we look at number 33, they are the same line for some constant C. So there's two different ways we can do it. Remember before, on a previous question in this section, I wrote down the two most common forms. Mx plus b form is slope-intercept form, and ax plus by, that's standard form. So they're giving us standard form. If you really want to, right, if that just makes you more comfortable, we can solve for what the equation would look like in standard form. Or sorry, not standard form, in slope-intercept form. Okay, so just something like that. And I on purpose, I left 10 over 2 just so you would see, the operation dividing by 2. Let's do the same thing for the other one. So 6y equals negative 3x plus c. If we divide by 6 now, so these are the same line, right? The numbers are different, but they are the same line. We could look at the m to confirm that it's the same line. Negative 3 over 6. That's a slope of negative 1/2 when you simplify it. And of course, we already have that here. What about the y-intercepts? They should be the same. 10 over 2, I left it as, unsimplified form, but that's 5. So all we need to do is set c over 6, set it equal to 5. And if we multiply by 6 on both sides, we find that the c value is 30. So that is our final answer there. Okay, so again, these concepts that are being tested are not that hard. It's just they're very good at designing problems that maybe make it easier to think you don't know, or maybe might be easier to make a mistake on because you're doing a little bit of work under a timed, stressful condition. So hopefully, you're starting to see that, hey, 32 wasn't too bad. 33 wasn't too bad. I just have to sort of not get my own way a little bit. All right. If you get into your own, if you are in a space where you're in your head, you're thinking, oh, this is hard or this is tricky. You're already giving yourself a little bit of a disadvantage. Okay, so let's take a look at the final question on this page. So this is a lot of trouble in terms of reading here. It's almost like a reading passage. We're getting a history lesson here. So 11 miles in 26 minutes, right? So again, I'm following my own advice, the same advice I used for number 31. I'm noticing that phrase, that sentence, and I'm seeing that connection. 11 minutes is 26 minutes. So we're trying to figure out the speed in miles per hour. Oh, interesting. Okay. So right now we have miles per 26 minutes, but they want miles per, and per means division, hour. Now, we have to read that and understand that they're telling us it's 1 hour, right? It's not 2 hours, it's not half an hour, it's 1 hour. So how many miles can this person go in 1 hour? So, well, let's just make our jobs a little bit easier. Since they're giving us minutes here, right? I'm going to illustrate here. Proportions are super helpful, and you've heard me say that in class. So instead of going with a conversion, like, why don't I just kind of just cross that off and say 60 minutes? How many miles is Paul Revere going to go in 60 minutes? And if I do it like that, see, I don't have to worry about like any sort of complicated conversion information and things like that. I can go straight to that proportion and solve it. So 26x is going to be equal to 660. And your calculator, of course, can finish off that job really easily. All right, so I'm not going to waste any time doing that. But again, understanding to organize that information as a fraction and to understand that proportion or proportional values as it is here, right? 11 to 26 has to be maintained, right? That relationship has to be maintained. He's not speeding up, he's not slowing down. We just need to take it to a longer period of time, to take it to 1 hour, to 60 minutes. And that's, again, really important. Proportional values, ratios, writing fractions down when we see them. Okay, so let's stop it right there, and then I'll pick it up on the next video.